Hey guys, welcome to Neat Movie News. My name is Dean Thomas.
His name is Dean. We like Dean.
And because of where I was able to film this review, unable to do some video, that will be returning shortly just for this review right here. But that being said, it's kind of one of the last movies that's going to qualify for Oscars. It did its limited run in December, so it will qualify for this year's Oscars, but it's being released wide this weekend, and that is 20th Century Women.
I think maybe you guys can help me with Jamie. How do you be a good man? What does that even mean nowadays?
Don't you need a man to raise a man?
No, I don't think so. I think you're what's gonna work for him.
You just feel guilty because it's just me and you.
Now, this movie is very much a movie about women. It takes place in 1979 in Santa Barbara, California, and it's about a mother who is raising her 15-year-old son on her own. She's got this house and she's renting it to another woman and a man who's also helping her fix up the house. And it's kind of about how all these people interact in the kind of this quirky little family they kind of create for this period of time in their lives. And I think this movie does a really cool job of letting you know exactly who all these characters are, because each character is given enough of their own time and is given almost a segment of the movie, although it doesn't feel like segments per se, but it gives you time to really understand and get to know each individual character. Obviously, there's characters that are given the spotlight a little bit more, and there's certain relationships between individual characters that are played on more. But this movie really is kind of about women and women's roles, even told through the men's perspective in this movie. You've got Annette Bening, who plays the mother, who really her thing is she's worried that her son that her alone raising her son isn't enough because she's older. She doesn't really know the sort of world he's growing up in, and being his mom, she doesn't think she's really able to see who he truly is. So she asks one of the girls renting from her, played by Greta Gerwig, and the other girl played by Elle Fanning, who is just kind of comes in and out of the house and is a good friend of her son's, to kind of help raise Jacob, or Jamie, I believe it's Jamie, to help raise him because she's worried that he's not getting enough full experience and that she can't do a good enough job. And it's kind of asked that question of, well, does a man need to be able to raise a man? And they flat out kind of tell you, or they don't tell you this, but her line is, I don't think so. So she has two women try to kind of help raise Jamie and teach him how to be a man, and they each kind of do it in their own way. But then it's also about Annette Bening's character and her. She's kind of isolated herself from the world, and it's her also kind of learning the world she now lives in. The craziness that is the 70s. She's very much set in her old ways, of the way she grew up back in the 40s around the war. She was born during the Great Depression. So she has a very different outlook on life compared to the craziness that is the 70s and the way culture has changed. And this movie really is about dynamics. You've got the young son who's 15, then you've got Elle Fanning's character who's a 17-year-old girl. So it's kind of, how does she look at the world? How has the world shaped her? Greta Gerwig's character kind of plays the artsy feminist who's got very strong beliefs and is very much about the feminist sort of movement in her own mind. Billy Crudup's character, who's probably my favorite character in the movie, is kind of this guy that he's kind of a little bit of a hippie. He's got some of those mentalities, but he's also he doesn't really know how to deal with love and women all that well, even though he's got no problem getting with women. It's the keeping them around. So this whole movie is centered around women during this time, really, how women were in the 20th century, ergo the title 20th Century Women. And I think it does a really good job of telling you where each of these characters come from, why they think the way they do, and kind of you get to see how they all interact with each other and how that develops who they are as a character as they move on. Now, filmmaking-wise, this movie does some really cool things. It's really well shot, and there's some really interesting camera techniques and color uses throughout the movie, especially when cars are driving on the road. And if you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's also feels very 70s. You very much believe you're in the 70s. Like I said at the beginning of this is sort of one of those movies that is trying to get itself qualified for Oscars. And I do believe it will get nominated because it's that kind of artsy movie that's got a message like, women's roles and how are they supposed to be raised, especially within this time. And I do think Annette Bening will probably be nominated because she is really good in this role. It's a very kind of subtle sort of role, but a very good one, a very dynamic one with a lot going on. And she really does perform it quite well. I still think Natalie Portman is the front runner to win it, but I do believe Annette Bening will be nominated for the Oscar for Best Actress. Now, overall for me, where this movie comes in, I have zero complaints with the filmmaking aspects of this movie. But for me, it's just as an individual, as a person, I just didn't connect with the story all that much. Obviously, I'm not a woman, so I don't really know a lot of that's going on, and I can appreciate everything that's going on because this is not a man bashing movie in any way. It's just simply giving you the life and the viewpoint of these women. It's not a male bashing thing in any way, but just overall because they're all women and they have their own individual problems. Just as a man, I wasn't able to relate to it. I'm also not a big fan of the 70s, so that didn't grab my interest in any way. So just kind of as an individual, certain elements of this story, and movies are simply stories, and there's just parts of the story that's being told in this movie I didn't quite connect to because I wasn't raised in the 70s. I'm not a woman. I don't necessarily share some of these same beliefs. So while I can appreciate everything that was going on in this movie, kind of the message it had, the filmmaking is really outstanding, but I just didn't connect to it as an individual, and that's really my biggest problem with the movie. And I guess that's not even necessarily a problem. That's just something I couldn't really grab onto. So I really do appreciate this movie. I think it will get nominated for some awards. It's just as an individual for myself, it didn't quite connect. So I'm gonna still though give this a very good score because I do think this is a good movie, and I'm going to score 20th Century Women a 74%. Like I said, really well made, great filmmaking, great acting all the way around. It's got some funny moments in it, and there are definitely some story moments that, as a human being, you can connect to, and as someone within this world of knowing issues that are going on, I can appreciate that and I can understand that. But as I mentioned plenty of times, it just didn't quite connect to me in any certain way, and I didn't connect to the story or the elements going on all that much. So that's why I score 20th Century Women a 74%. Well, there you guys have it. That is my review. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at NeatMovieNews for all the latest in the world of movies. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you back here next time.